Bless you.
Hey. I think they got you sitting over there.
You're over here,
Yeah.
Chair.
And I know Yvonne said she was en route,
You got
so
fuel?
we'll give her a couple minutes.
Right.
No, you just, solemnly say, it's just there, like you
Okay.
can ignore it.
Good.
Carlos, you're in the background of mine, though.
How are you? Good. You okay? I know. No, it's great. I'm doing great.
Thank you, Miss Jill.
I'm exhausted because I turned it off because we all recognize we're getting
It was, oh God,
I'm fine.
every day, every day. I can't believe I left it.
You left your phone?
I left it here.
We went
Sometimes
over
you're just like in a
the
for real in a
holidays.
hurry.
My daughter got married there.
Everybody was calling me.
husband lives, or is from Cairo.
That's why I left
And,
it.
it was, I think, well, it was fun and awesome, but also the rates of COVID in Egypt are a lot lower than the rates of COVID here. So like all my friends got sick last
Oh, no.
They're all okay now, but you know, and we were like,
I like that.
fine. So, it was,
Thank you.
So we're in, is it live right now? Okay, everyone too, it's live.
Yeah, we did a break here.
So just FYI, we are live.
And then there's a whole bunch of stuff around Cairo, like there's a citadel and a person.
I just know, we just needed to know.
So yeah, we did some of that, and then my two sons were there with their girlfriends, and they went to Luxor. And, sorry, I hope
Well, it's live.
they went to Luxor, which is like 10 hours away, so they saw more even than we did. It was cool.
Board, we will get started in about 2 minutes. We're just waiting for Trustee Fields. I know she's en route.
Is Trustee Goodrich?
I believe she is quarantined.
She won't be
Good,
here
how are
today.
you?
Yeah, tomorrow it's gonna be
No,
high,
she really wants it.
Okay, because you know, me and Zoom are intimate. Like, I don't know if I can function with my Zoom. I have a lot, so many meetings.
Really?
It's hilarious. She's like, talk to my mom. She's like, no.
Okay, she's not here at 6:35. I'll go ahead and call to order.
But she really gets to things, and I just think she should be great. So.
I like this setup.
Oh, I like it a lot.
It's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To see everybody.
Yeah,
I'm like, we should have done this a long time ago, like pre-COVID, right? But
right?
it's nice.
It is.
Yeah.
I thought we did at one point, but
We
then there was
talked about it.
complaints about our backs being to the audience.
Really?
But,
But now it's not. We've,
Because we moved the audience.
Okay.
yeah.
I vaguely remember that though.
yeah, we were talking about it. Maybe we did it, we did it at that one workshop.
Yeah.
And it was so weird, because we were,
Back to
that's
Back
right.
to the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah.
And I can imagine though, if you were to want to see the
Right, that's
screen though,
challenging. Yeah, you got to
it
turn it.
would be
Right.
Mm-hmm.
kind of straight, harder.
There's not really there's
Perfect.
something with everything, yeah.
That's so true.
So Solomon said, again, the cameras are just so that people can see you when you talk, the mics are pretty sensitive, but talk directly towards the mic. So now you see my faces that way, especially with us with the masks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, I'll move it.
So if you're talking, like if you're intentionally doing so in the meeting, to have it going towards the mic. Okay. Thank you.
All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. We know that one of our board members is going to be joining us soon. So I would like to call this regular Board of Education meeting to order. The time is 6:35 PM. And before we do a roll call of those Board of Education members present, I just want to note that one of our trustees is not with us this evening. Out of abundance of caution, due to being exposed to a positive COVID case, she decided to stay home. So I just wanted to note that before we got started. At this time, Secretary Schindler, could you do a roll call of those Board of Education members who are present?
Yes, Madam President. Trustee Townsend,
Present.
Vice President Lee,
Present.
I am present, Meredith Schindler, Trustee Gainsley,
Present.
and President Hawkins.
I am here. So we have 5 Board of Education members present, 1 is absent, and we believe 1 is on the way. Next, that takes us to the Pledge of Allegiance. And at this time, I would like to invite the board and everyone present at our meeting to join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, that takes us to achievements, awards, and recognition. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you so much, Madam President. This month, as many know, is School Board Recognition Month, and this year, just like every other year, we want to pause to say thank you. Yeah, we know that this year hasn't been like every other year. It's been one that has had lots of hills and valleys, lots of twists and turns, and every meeting seems to be a new law, a new legislation, and ways to be able to serve. You've served the public in all of those ways. And so in that regard, we as the Ifsalani Community Schools Administration and community commend you. I'd like to ask Madam President, if I could read this resolution?
Absolutely.
Thank you. It says, to honor School Board Recognition Month, January 2022, Ifsalani Community Schools. Ifsalani Community Schools joins 529 local and 56 intermediate school districts across Michigan to celebrate January as School Board Recognition Month. Whereas, school board members represent their fellow citizens' views and priorities in the complexity of maintaining and running the community's public schools. They reinforce the principle of local control over public education, which is an important, highly valued aspect of education in Michigan. And 2, the month of January marks the observance of School Board Recognition Month. This is an opportunity to show our appreciation for these leaders and begin to better understand how local trustees work together to prepare today's students to be tomorrow's leaders. And number 3, the key to a brighter future for Michigan's children is a strong public education system. Every day, students count on public schools to help prepare them for a successful future. Students count on adults across the state to ensure they have access to resources to help them learn, keep their buildings safe, and have qualified teachers to guide them. It takes a commitment to a community to make this possible. At the end of the day, contributing to the success of our students are ordinary citizens with extraordinary dedication to public schools, our school board members, And 4, the job of the school board members is to establish a vision for the education program, design a structure to achieve that vision, ensure schools are accountable to the community, and advocate for continuous improvement in student learning. This is the time to remember school board members for their untiring efforts. And now therefore be it resolved, we encourage you to join Ifsalani Community Schools with others throughout our community, state, and nation to salute the men and women who provide grassroots governance of public schools. Even though there is a special effort during January to show appreciation for our school board members, we recognize their contributions are a year-round effort. Celebrating School Board Recognition Month is one way to say thanks for all school board members do. And the school board members serving Ypsilanti Community Schools this January 2022 are Dr. Celeste Hawkins, Board President, Sharon Lee, Board Vice President, Meredith Schindler, Board Secretary, Jillian Breen Gainsley, Board Treasurer, Yvonne Fields, Board Trustee, Maria Goodrich, Board Trustee, and Janice Townsend, Board Trustee. Thank you for your dedication and service. Board members, you'll see that there's a gift on behalf of the school districts, administration, students, and the community that recognizes each and every one of you personally. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, that takes us to, we appreciate, before I move to the next item, just want to pause for a moment just to say how much we appreciate, we know this is Board Recognition Month, but how much we appreciate serving this great community, this great school district, and serving alongside all of these great administrators, teachers, and staff members who work for our district, and importantly, the students that we serve. So thank you again, Dr. Zachary Ross. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the agenda. At this time, is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
Madam President, so moved.
A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support. This is Trustee Gainsley.
So, I didn't hear the support.
I support.
Thank you. Okay, supported by Trustee Gainsley. We're gonna just fix our audio real quick and then we'll move on. All right, I'll restate, okay. The motion was made by Trustee Schindler, supported by Trustee Gainsley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the first public comment section of the evening. And are there any cards that have come in for public comment?
Yes, Madam President. Mr. Warren,
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. First, I'll read the public comment protocol, and then I will call the member of the public up wishing to address the Board of Education. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the Board of Education and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. At this time, we have Orion. Did I say that correctly?
No, but don't worry, most people don't get it.
Okay, but I'm big on names. I want to make sure I say people's names correctly. How do you
Okay.
pronounce?
It's Orion.
Orion, thank you, Orion Falisco. Okay, I got one part right. All right. Orion? Orion. See how you just told me and I forgot it. Orion Falisco, address 314 Garland, Ypsilanti, Michigan, 48198. You may come to the mic and address the board.
Hi, my name is Orion Falisco. I am a Boy Scout, but I'm also a part of the Ypsi Grizzlies swim team. Basically, I came here to gather information for a merit badge, and I would also like to ask if what's
News on the pool.
okay. Okay. Do we have any news on the Ypsilanti pool for the in the high school? Okay. Okay.
Awesome. All right, is that all your comments to us this evening?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Orion. We so appreciate you being here. And I didn't say this when I introduced you, but you represent the Boy Scouts, correct?
Yeah.
Excellent. And you're on the swim team. And say again, there was something else you said, the swim team and
The Ypsilanti Grizzlies.
Ypsilanti Grizzlies. Well, we thank you for being here this evening with us, and thank you so much for addressing the Board of Education. And we will be sure to follow up so that you get the answer to your question about the pool, okay?
Okay.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Any other comments, Ms. Haynes? No comment cards? All right, perfect. That takes us to item number 6 on our agenda. And this is the election of the acting chairperson and the appointment of our temporary secretary for the portion of our organizational meeting. And at this time, I would like to nominate, we'll ask if our Dr. Zachary Ross, our superintendent, would serve in the role as the acting chairperson. But before we do that, we need to be able to take a motion to nominate Dr. Zachary Ross to serve in that role. So at this time, is there a motion?
Madam President, so moved.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support. Townsend.
Thank you. Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Zachary Ross, at this point, you can preside over the organizational portion of the meeting.
Thank you. At this time, I hereby appoint Julie Haynes to serve as temporary secretary until such time as the secretary of the Board of Education has been elected. Thank you for your service, Ms. Haynes. We will now move to the annual organizational meeting and begin with learning who has an interest in serving in positions. All the positions are now open, and so we'll start with the position of president of the board. For those who are interested, please acknowledge. I'll recognize you, and then you will share your level of interest and the assets that you bring to the role of president. Any trustees who are interested in serving as president of the board?
Dr. Zachary Ross, I am interested in serving as president for the board.
Thank you. Dr. Hawkins, would you please share at this time your level of interest and the assets that you bring to the role of president?
Absolutely. Certainly interested in serving in this role, continuing to serve in this role. It has been an honor, and it's certainly been a pleasure to be able to not only serve in this role, before the pandemic, but certainly it was a challenging time to serve in this role throughout the pandemic. And so I just appreciate the ability to be able to serve and to pivot during such a crucial time in our country. The assets that I bring to service, I would really consider myself someone who is incredibly dependable, organized, a team player. I work collaboratively with the team. In addition to that, I have established a very strong working relationship with our superintendent. I pride myself on being really active and engaged in the community, attending community events. Certainly pre-COVID, it was a little bit more challenging during the pandemic, but those virtual events that we did have an opportunity to attend, I made sure I could be at and to stay involved and engaged. Importantly, I serve in this role because I'm so committed to and dedicated to students first, and believe that they indeed, as cliche as it might sound, our students are indeed our future. And I couldn't see myself doing any other work in terms of service, but doing everything I can to positively impact the lives of our students and thereby impacting the lives of our students' families and also our community. So that's what I would say about my assets and my interest in serving on the board. Thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. Are there any other trustees who are interested in serving as president of the board? Are there any additional trustees who are interested in serving as president of the board? And finally, are there any additional trustees who are interested in serving as president of the board? Seeing none, we're going to ask Ms. Haynes, will you please poll the board and ask them to please name the person they prefer to serve as president for this year?
I will start with Trustee Yvonne Fields. Who would you like to see as president?
I would like to see as president, Dr. Celeste Hawkins.
Trustee Janice Townsend?
Dr. Celeste Hawkins.
Trustee Meredith Schindler?
Dr. Hawkins.
Trustee Jillian Gainsley?
Dr. Celeste Hawkins?
Superintendent Zachary Ross, we have a majority.
Oh,
Thank you.
you missed.
And we paused because,
Excuse me?
and I didn't, and it's my
She
fault.
didn't get that.
They have at 4, when there's 4, a majority for the single candidate, so I wanted, and that's my fault as the preceding the meeting, I did not share. And we will stop the roll call when we have a majority,
Okay.
which is 4 still, even with this number, so thank you. It appears that there is a majority support for Dr. Celeste Hawkins to serve as president of the board. May I have a motion at this time?
I nominate Dr. Celeste Hawkins to serve as president of the Board of Education.
Thank you. Would someone support that motion?
Support, Trustee Townsend.
Any discussion? And this one is another roll call vote, so this time we're gonna have everyone. Ms. Hayes?
Dr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Trustee Fields?
Yes.
Trustee Townsend?
Yes.
Trustee Schindler?
Aye.
Trustee Gainsley?
Aye.
And Trustee Lee?
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0. The vote is to have Dr. Hawkins serve as president until the 2023 organizational meeting. Congratulations, President Hawkins.
Thank you. And thank you, Board of Education members, for your support.
At this time, we'll move to the office of Vice President. I pose the question, who has an interest in serving as Vice President of the board?
Superintendent Zachary Ross, I am.
Thank you, Trustee Lee. Can you please tell the board about your interests and assets that you would bring to the role of vice president?
Sure. Yes, I've been vice president in the past, and I will continue to support the board president when needed. I am continue to respect and stand by the decisions that are made in the interest of the students when we make decisions and vote on those decisions. I continue to advocate for the district, and I know my lane. And when I say that, I am constantly contacted by political figures, and when I am, I'm asked by them, what do they want me to do for them? I'm sorry, what they want them to do for me. So, and I have two things I go to, and that's to get more money in the district and to get rid of the debt. And then I also tell them to contact Superintendent Dr. Zachary Ross, because I don't want to step on any toes, and I know that you probably have a laundry list of things that you want to see happen. And I tell them to go to you. Now, if they do or not, I'm not sure, but I tell them to go to you. And I try to follow the protocol. And hopefully they do. And I don't know why they keep contacting me. I wish they would contact you, but, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, and I'm continuing to grow and to educate myself by going to the, through MASB, and I would like to go through NSAB also. And I see they have a conference coming up in April, so I would like to attend that. And I think that's about it. Yeah, so,
Thank you, Trustee Lee. Are there any additional trustees who are interested in serving in the role of vice president of the board? Are there any additional trustees that are interested in serving in the role of vice president of the board? Lastly, are there any additional trustees interested in serving as vice president of the board? Since we have one, might I entertain a motion? For a nomination?
I nominate Sharon Lee for Vice President of the Board of Trustees.
Support Trustee Townsend.
I have a nomination by Trustee Schindler, supported by Trustee Townsend, for Trustee Lee to serve as Vice President until the 2023 organizational meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take the roll call vote.
Trustee Townsend,
Aye.
Trustee Schindler,
Aye.
Trustee Gainsleigh,
Aye.
Trustee Lee,
aye.
Dr. Hawkins,
Aye.
and Trustee Fields.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. The vote is to have Trustee Lee serve as Vice President until the 2023 organizational meeting. Congratulations, Vice President Lee.
thank you.
Now for the position of Secretary of the Board. Are there any trustees who are interested in serving as Secretary of the Board of Education?
So Trustee Goodrich talked to me about being interested, but I know that she's not here.
Now, if you'd like to nominate her, I do have an email that says that she would accept a nomination even though she was not present. and I've talked to MASB Brad Banasic. He said that that is acceptable and aligned with board guidance. So we have a nomination for Trustee Goodrich. Are there any other trustees who are interested in serving as secretary of the board? Are there any other trustees who are interested in serving as secretary of the board? And finally, are there any others who are interested in serving as secretary of the board? At this time, I will again open it for a nomination for secretary, a formal nomination for the motions.
I would like to formally nominate Maria Goodrich as secretary of the board.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support, trustee Townsend.
Support from trustee. There's a nomination, a motion by trustee Fields, support by trustee Townsend. Sorry, I'm trying to write in, that's not working. By trustee Townsend, for trustee Maria Goodrich to serve as secretary to the 2023 organizational meeting. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, Ms. Haynes, will you please call the roll call vote?
Trustee Gainsleigh?
Aye.
Trustee Lee?
Aye.
Dr. Huckins?
Aye.
Trustee Fields?
Aye.
Trustee Townsend?
Aye.
Motion
You forgot
passes.
me.
Uh-oh, I just see that.
Sorry. Trustee Schindler?
Aye.
Motion passes now 6-0. The vote is to have Maria Goodrich serve as secretary until the 2023 organizational meetings. Congratulations, Secretary Goodrich. I'm sure she's watching.
Yes.
This time, the office of treasurer. So who is interested in serving as treasurer of the board?
Superintendent Zachary Ross, I am interested in serving as treasurer.
Thank you so much. Will you please share your level of interest and assets that you bring to the role of treasurer?
Absolutely. So I've been treasurer for the last 3 years. This would be the beginning of number 4. It's been, I think, a really important role for me, and to the opportunity to just kind of hone in on the district's finances over the last few years, which we know is, always an issue, particularly with, ESSER funding and debts and bonds and millages and all those things coming at us. I think one of the biggest accomplishments I can't take credit for, but the district certainly can, and it's been, something that's I've been really proud of over the last few years, has been refinancing our bonds to cut almost 2 years off of the repayment time for our taxpayers, and to reduce the total amount that they're going to have to pay over the full period of those loans. And I think we've had several opportunities that we've taken to refinance those and reduce that burden. And then certainly, ensuring that we renew our millages on time, and also that we advocate, hopefully at the state level, for debt reduction. So those are some big priorities for me that I'd love to pursue in the next year.
Thank you, Trustee Gainsleigh. Are there any other trustees that are interested in serving as treasurer of the board? Are there any additional trustees that are interested in serving as treasurer of the board? And finally, are there any additional trustees who are interested in serving as treasurer of the board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for a nomination for the election of the board treasurer.
Trustee Townsend, I formally nominate trustee Jillian Gainsleigh to serve as the treasurer for the 2023 organizational meeting.
Thank you. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Fields, I support.
There's been a motion by trustee Townsend, supported by trustee Fields, for trustee Jillian Gainsleigh to serve as secretary until the 2023 organizational meeting.
Treasurer.
Oh, it does say IC. I literally read from the page. Sorry, as treasurer. Is there any discussion on this motion? Ms. Haynes, will you please conduct the roll call vote?
Trustee Schindler,
Aye.
Trustee Lee,
Aye.
Trustee Gainsleigh,
Aye.
Dr. Hawkins,
Aye.
Trustee Fields,
Aye.
Trustee Townsend.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 6-0. The vote is to have Trustee Gainsleigh serve as treasurer until the 2023 organizational meeting. Congratulations, Treasurer Gainsleigh. Board, thank you for the opportunity to chair this organizational meeting. I now recognize President Hawkins, who will serve as chair going forward.
Thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross, and congratulations again to all of our trustees who are serving in roles on the board. Next, that takes us to our appointments of board committee members and liaisons. And board members have already had an opportunity to take a look at those board member committee roles and liaison roles. And at this time, I'm just gonna go down the list to see who would be interested in serving in particular roles. The first one on our list is the parliamentarian. Is there a trustee who is interested in serving in this role? Last year, Vice President Lee graciously served in this role. And certainly we welcome Vice President Lee to serve in that role again, but it is open to any board member at the table. Is anyone interested in serving in the parliamentarian role? And just as a note, the position does not require any additional time, and it is only active during the Board of Education meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would do it again.
Thank you, Vice President Lee. So we have Vice President Lee, who will take on the role of parliamentarian. Next, we have the Head Start Policy Committee.
I want to do that one. But I don't know what's going on with that.
Once we have a new director, they'll set the agenda. And there's also a new director needed at the intermediate school district, as that position is open as well. So they'll be giving direction in terms of how that's gonna meet, when, and especially because it's been virtual lately, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Lee. I have you as parliamentarian, and you are continuing with the Head Start Policy Committee, and they continue to meet once a month, correct? Okay, perfect. Next, that takes us to the Legislative Relations Network designee, and I do know that Trustee Goodrich is interested in serving in that role, but again, this is open. Are there other board members who might be interested in serving as the Legislative Relations Network designee?
I was doing that one too, but. No, I'll let her have that one.
Okay. All right.
That's too early.
Okay.
That's the early one.
That is the early one. And it's about 4 meetings a year, and as you know, and that meeting is at 7:30 a.m. During those times. So I will appoint Trustee Goodrich to the Legislative Relations Network, and she will serve as the designee. Next, we have the Washtenaw Association of School Boards representative. Last year, Trustee Goodrich served in that role as well, and she has expressed interest in wanting to continue. Are there other board members who might be interested in the Washtenaw Association of School Boards to serve as a representative for YCS? Okay. I will also appoint Trustee Goodrich to serve in the role as Washtenaw Association of School Boards representative for YCS. Thank you, Trustee Goodrich. Next, that takes us to number 5, which is the Ifsalani Foundation Board Liaison.
You skipped one? You just skipped one?
No, number 5 is the Ypsilanti Promise Board.
Oh, it's different on, I'm looking at it, the list on the next page has that listed as
Okay.
number 5, yep.
Okay. Number
Is there
5.
still an Ipsy Promise board? That might be why that's different.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't have it listed
Because
on the
we
list
didn't have
underneath
that
in the executive
last
council
year.
section.
Yeah, I think that might be from a few
Yeah, I
years
know it's
ago.
at the top, look at the bottom.
Oh,
We didn't have that last year, did we?
Yeah.
yeah.
I know they haven't met since I've
Yeah.
been here, and I think we were questioning, is it
Still active?
still active?
Right.
I think and it turned into like the Washtenaw Promise, but I'm not even sure that that's
Ah.
really
Okay.
all that active, so
Yeah, I think that's something that we will have to look into. I'm not sure if I haven't seen this come up in the past couple of years, but
Right.
that's something we can certainly look into. So we'll move on to the Foundation Board Liaison,
Okay.
which is at the top, item number 6, and I think down below, it's number 5, so it's just not listed in the bottom. Is there anyone who's interested in serving in the role as the Ypsilanti Foundation Board Liaison?
Dr. Hawkins, I'd be very interested in serving in that role.
Okay. And I know last year we had Vice President Lee serving in that role, so thank you for your service in that role last year. And
You're
thank you, Trustee Gaisley, for taking on this responsibility this year. Next, we have the MASB Association, the Michigan Association of School Boards MASB Convention Delegate and Alternate. So this requires 2 board members, 1 to serve as the delegate and 1 as the alternate in case the delegate is unavailable. Is there a board member who is interested in serving as the delegate?
Dr. Hawkins, and Trustee Fields, I can do that again. I did that last year.
You
so-
did, you
Yes.
did. Did a wonderful job, so thank you. Thank you for serving in that role. Who would like to support Trustee Fields and become the alternate if Trustee Fields is unavailable to cast that vote?
Dr. Hawkins, I can serve, Trustee Townsend, I can serve as an alternate.
Thank you so much, Trustee Townsend. Next, that takes us to the Coordinated School Health Team. Is there a board member who might be interested in serving in this role? And this position requires attendance at several meetings in the district a year possibly.
I'm currently doing it and would be happy to stay, but if someone else is interested in taking that up, that's great. Happy to give it up.
Thank you, Trustee Schindler. I know you've served in this role for some time, and you've done a wonderful job, so thank you. I don't think anybody's gonna arm wrestle you for it. So it's all yours. So Trustee Schiller will serve in that role for the Coordinated School Health Team. And lastly, that takes us to the Sex Education Advisory Board. And I know Trustee Schiller, you've also served in that role.
Yeah, and I would love to stay.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So all of those roles have been filled, so that takes us to, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, let's go to I want to make sure we do the subcommittees and the appointments, and we do that, take that motion at the same time. So next, we have our subcommittees, and each of our subcommittees could include up to from 1 to 3 members, unless there's something noted otherwise. And the first the first subcommittee that we have is our policy subcommittee. Trustee Schindler has graciously served in this role as the chair, and done a wonderful job, and that position is open. Trustee Schindler, you're welcome to continue in it. We're also open to, open it up to see if other board members might be interested in serving. So who would like to serve as the chair of the policy subcommittee?
I'll keep doing it if no one else would like to do it. I would like to stay on the policy subcommittee regardless.
Okay. So I have trustee Schindler, who is interested in serving on the policy subcommittee, and would take on the role of chair, if no one else wants it. Any other board members interested in serving on the policy subcommittee?
I think when I talked to trustee Goodrich, she
Mhm.
sounded interested.
In
I'm
the
not
policy?
sure, and I don't know, she might have put something in her email, but
I did list, she sent me an order, yep, that's one of her first policy is one she wants to serve in. I would also be interested, I've served on that committee, and enjoy it, so unless there are other board members who are interested, that would be trustee Goodrich, myself, and trustee Schindler serving as the chair. All right.
sounds good.
Perfect. Next, we have the Financial and Operational Planning Subcommittee. And I know that trustee Gaisley, you have graciously served as the chair of that committee and done a wonderful job. Are there trustees who are interested? And trustee Gaisley, are you interested in continuing in that role as chair?
I would certainly be interested in continuing. Feel like it makes sense as the treasurer, but if someone else wants to chair, I would love to, I could serve somewhere else on the committee too.
Okay.
Dr. Hawkins, I would like to also continue to serve on the committee as just a trust, number 2 or 3.
All right, I got you down. Trustee Townsend. So I have trustee Gaisley, have you listed as the chair. I have trustee Townsend. Is there another board member who might be interested in serving on the Financial and Operational Planning Subcommittee? No takers?
Just sign Maria up for everything.
Huh?
I made a joke about
Oh.
signing Maria up for everything.
Let me see what her number 2 was. She sent them to me, so I'll take a look here.
I know that she's been on the DTN
Yep, she
committee,
did,
so,
yep,
yeah.
she does. She did not express an interest in that. So if we need 3, I will serve in that role, and I'll just put a little question mark next to my name, because I just feel that someone might be interested, and they're just not saying it right now. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the Strategic and Educational Performance. That's the DTN Subcommittee. And last year, it was both Vice President Lee and I believe, I'm blanking.
You was chair on that one.
I was. Trustee Goodrich, yes. And I think she is interested in continuing on that committee as
I'm
well.
interested in that one too,
You are?
yes.
Are you interested in serving as the chair?
No. You can be the chair on that one.
Okay. All
I
right,
can
I will continue on in that role, and serve as the chair, and then Vice President Lee, I have you, and is there anyone else interested? I know that trustee Goodrich is interested. Okay. I have myself, Vice President Lee, and trustee Goodrich.
Okay.
And next, we have the Community Relations Subcommittee.
Dr. Hawkins, I'm in.
You
Trustee
are-
Fields is interested in it.
Okay.
yes.
Trustee Fields, you served in that role all last
Yes.
year, right?
Mhm.
Excellent. I don't know were you the chair?
No, I don't know who the chair was, me and Maria Goodrich. Was I the chair?
No, I'm saying you should be the chair.
I can be the chair, though.
All right, perfect. Excellent. All right, we got trustee Fields, who will serve as the chair of the Community Relations Subcommittee, and then,
Dr. Hawkins, I would like to also serve on that committee.
okay. And I have trustee Townsend. Are there any other board members who are interested in serving? I'm gonna go back to my list, and I'll wait patiently in case there's someone who's,
I would be interested in serving, but I think that trustee Goodrich is probably more interested than serving than I am.
okay.
And I would be happy to step aside and make that possible, because it's hard for me to go to all the meetings.
Okay. Well, that was on her list. I'm just trying to verify it. Here we go. Yep, that was her third, okay, choice. All right, well, Then I have, again, Trustee Fields, who is going to serve as the chair of the Community Relations Subcommittee. I have Trustee Goodrich and then Trustee Townsend, who will serve in those roles. So now, at this time, is there a motion for the appointments for the board committees, subcommittees, and the liaison roles at this time?
Madam President, so moved.
A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion? Do we need to list the names again, or do we already have them captured? Ms. Haynes? You captured, okay, perfect. Okay, a motion has been made, I'll repeat it, by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the consent agenda. And is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education approve the December 6, 2021 regular board meeting minutes, number 2, December 6, 2021 special board meeting minutes, and personal matters as per the presented list, personnel matters as per the presented list dated 1/18/2022, new hires and resignations.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the District Compliance Officer's appointment. Any discussion? Or context, I guess I should say, before we take a motion. These are some of our annual appointments. As the board remembers, every year we appoint different officers to serve in different roles to take care of district business. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move to designate the following staff to serve as district compliance officers. 1, the Assistant Superintendent as 504 Compliance Officer, and 2, the Director of Human Resources as District Compliance Officer and ADA Coordinator in compliance with policy numbers 2260.01 and 4123.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the Board of Education meeting schedule adoption. And at this time, I would like the board to just take a look at the schedule that has been given to us so that we can take a look at dates before we adopt the meeting schedule.
I just had a question.
Sure.
On the list, there's, after October 10, it says October 20 to 23. But that is not, I thought maybe it was a retreat, but those aren't the retreat dates. So that seems like a mistake.
Is that for the
Oh, shoot, I'm looking at the,
MASB conference?
oh, that's the conference. Okay, I'm looking at the minutes instead of that guy.
Oh, that's okay.
But that's the MASB conference.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Dr. Hawkins, I just wanted, I won't be at the April 25th meeting, so that's fine, just.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. And that's one of our potential workshop dates. Okay.
Perfect.
I'll give everyone about a minute or so to just take a look at it, to look at the dates, and to also make sure there are no conflicts with the dates that have been presented to us in terms of the board calendar. Every year, I know when we're adopting the calendar, we check, we double check, but there's sometimes always some dates that we might not be tracking on, so I just want to make sure that we have all eyes on this, and if there are any dates that look like they conflict, please share. I'm not aware of any religious or state holidays. Do you see anything on the calendar?
No, I was
Trustee
just, since
Gangsley?
you said vacations, it does say that retreat is listed. It's not on the meeting minutes, but it's in the notes, but it's not in the idea of having a retreat August 5 or 6 or 12 or 13. I just know I'm gone the first week of August, so.
The first week of August you're gone? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a note of that.
So for clarification, we only have one meeting in March? Is
Repeat that
correct?
again, Trustee Townsend.
I said, for clarification, we only have one meeting in March?
It's the 21st and the 28th, there's no school,
Yep.
spring break.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, just
Just
making
the
sure.
14th.
Okay.
Mhm.
It is the same day as NAPIT Day. We thought
Mhm.
NAPIT is at 5, however,
Okay.
and it's online.
It is.
Will it be though? Will it be next year?
Will it be online? Is
Oh,
this,
this is soon, my
Yeah.
bad. Sorry.
we got the invitation after we created, however, when it was at 5 o'clock, we said it could work.
We could still do both, yep.
The meeting's at what time? Is the board
6:30,
meeting?
our board meeting.
And NAPIT is gonna start at
5.
5? Oh, I thought it
Mhm.
started at 8, okay.
And last year virtually, it was short. I know when it's in person, it's sometimes a little longer,
A little
but
longer,
virtual,
yeah.
it was really
Okay.
a tighter schedule.
Mhm. So that 5 o'clock start will allow us to still participate virtually and be able to conduct our board business for our regular meeting.
It'd be a little tight.
And so, my other question,
Mm-hmm.
we have, October 10th, that's Columbus Day. Are we in school that day, or?
I believe we are. October 10th,
Yeah,
we looked at
Oh,
the
as a
schedule.
holiday?
yes, I didn't know,
If
we
we're
still
clo-
have board meetings?
Are we closed on Columbus Day?
Typically
I don't-
not.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll double check. Thank you,
That's the
Trustee
bank.
Townsend.
Bank
yeah.
holidays, in
Uh-huh.
my back of my
Right.
mind. Okay.
Oh, we're here.
On the calendar, too.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam Vice President,
So for March 14th,
March 14th, uh-huh.
which would be NAPIT
Yes.
also, do you think maybe we should start our meeting at a later time? Maybe like at 7? Or
I think,
do you think we'll be all right?
I think we'll be okay. One thing that we can also consider, and I don't know what the board thinks, but we could even consider coming here early at 5, and if it's, can it be streamed?
we can put it on.
So we can possibly stream it to watch the virtual event and then go right into our board meeting at 6:30,
Okay.
if that works. I don't know what people's schedules are like, or, you know, if that will work or won't work, but that's just an idea.
I like having that
Okay.
as an option. I don't, yeah, I like that.
So we'll have it open, and if people can come, they can, and if not, we'll start at 6:30.
30?
Does that work?
That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that way we can do both. That's perfect. I'd just like to note, in addition to the dates that are here, well, not in addition to the dates, but in terms of topics, just for the board to keep in mind that we are looking to offer, training on some of our long-range planning. If you can remember, we need to, complete our strategic planning session. We also need to complete our mission, vision statements, and we also need to pick back up on our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. So where you see potential workshop, the topics can be adjusted, but the dates, we want to make sure the dates seem like they don't present any conflicts on, for religious holidays, state holidays, if board members have conflicts in their schedules. So, yes.
Just
Trustee
a quick
Townsend?
question.
Mhm.
The graduation date, what date is that going to be on this year?
We're looking
Okay.
it up.
Okay.
I want to say it's like the second week, is it the second week in June or first week in June? I think it changes,
Now that we
so.
haven't had to sign the contracts,
Oh,
like
right.
before with Easter, but now they don't.
Okay.
And our district website went down right before the meeting. Oh, it's back up so I can look at the calendar on.
Okay.
Okay.
I can always go back to it.
Well, this looks good to me.
Mhm.
Thank you. While we're looking up the date for graduation, Dr. Zachary Ross, do you want the board to start looking at dates for the, our long-range planning or our DEI? I know that you might need to do some coordinating with facilitators. Do you want us to have a dialogue about that now, or do you want us to wait?
No, I would love the conversation. One of the dialogues that Dr. Hawkins and I had was that if we know in advance, we're really able to get the presenters that the board is looking to have. We know that we have relationships with some, there might be others, and also working with Mary Kerwin, we can schedule this if we know this far in advance that these are workshops. The other thing, that if the board does adopt this calendar, what we wanted to strategically do, we looked at the meetings where there were 2 meetings a month. One meeting would be more heavy, obviously, in presentations, whereas the other ones would be an opportunity for extended learning, so that you can use the same board time to have the workshop and not have it on a different day, but really have it set so that you could try to block your calendars and arrange for opportunities. So the potential workshops, and then also if there's feedback on the potential retreat days, we know that we are working under a grant, have asked permission if there's funds set aside after the initial funds as we revise. This would be a possible allowable expense, and so we would know it has to be into August, because the funds have to be drawn down for June. It gives a chance for a revision, and then if it's then in August, if we know the potential date, and then how far away might we, I know people mentioned Shanty Creek or other places, if there's a specific place, we can be working in advance to try to hold, even though we know we've got to wait on that funding, but to hold it, and so that we can work, and Ms. Haynes can work to schedule and secure those dates. So those are I appreciate that, the workshops around which ones, and then if the 13th is the best.
So I guess if I'm thinking about it in order, I know that our strategic planning, making sure we finalize, wrap up our mission statement work, to me, that seems like it might need to come earlier in the year. And then from there, we might need to start looking at, maybe some workshop dates around our equity work. And Dr. Zachary Ross, can you please clarify your last statement about the workshop? I'm sorry, not workshop, but the retreat. Does it need to be after June?
The potential ones we looked at were either August 5th and 6th or 12th and 13th.
August 5th?
5th and 6th, or the 12th and 13th. The reasoning behind that was that I know the closing, and I'm looking at Dr. Coscarella to make sure I'm correct, the closing, we'd be able to close the end of June and do the drawdowns. We'd be able to look to see for the additional, if there are funds left, we could talk to, make sure that that plan was revised with U.S. Department of Ed. I just want to make sure. And then we'd have August.
Okay,
Around that, yes? No? Okay.
okay. I
Just
see the
double
thumbs
checking.
up, uh-huh. Okay, perfect. So does the August 5th, I'm sorry, I'm going out of order, because I at first said we were gonna talk about maybe securing, a facilitator for our strategic planning and mission work, but I want board members just to take a look at their calendars to see if August 5th and 6th and August 12th and 13th, if you have any conflicts on those dates. Trustee Gaisley, I heard you say you would be out of town that first week in August,
Fifth and
correct?
sixth would not work for
The
me.
5th and 6th would not work, okay. So does the 12th and 13th work for board members?
Works for me.
I will
I
do my
know.
very best to schedule around it. We are often out of town around them, but we're often out of town in the whole beginning of August, so I will do my very, I don't always have a lot of choice, so, but I'm gonna do my very best to hold it whatever day it,
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
is
So,
scheduled.
so it sounds like, Dr. Zachary Ross, we could look at August 12th and 13th as placeholders for the board retreat.
Thank you. And we know that these are placeholders. Things are subject to change, especially during this time, but it gives us direction.
Yes. Okay, so we have our first potential workshop, it looks like is February the 28th. Do we feel like that is too soon to have a facilitator come in? I know we've been working with Mary Kerwin around our strategic planning, our mission work. Does that feel like it's too soon, or do
We
we?
asked her, and she said that she would be available. That was kind of our suggestion as well, to finish that
Yeah.
long-range work,
Mhm.
because it's already started, and it wouldn't be so short of notice for someone else if you chose this date. That was why we were a little ambitious and thought
Okay,
perhaps we could get a February date.
okay,
If it's someone else, I don't know. I think that would be a little ambitious.
okay.
Dr. Zachary Ross, what is the YCS Black History events? Are those going to be virtual as well?
Usually at that meeting each month, we just talk about which events that that has happened in our community, and we lift those up at the end of February. We talk about how
okay.
the district has supported. In addition, we would have, in the past, we'd have students to come and do points of pride, and we lift up the Black History Month events at that meeting. So I'm sorry, I didn't clarify. Usually here is just the idea of topics, too, and most of them come from our board field books.
Yep.
The board field
School
guide.
card,
And so you'll see, to make sure we have the goal progress and the benchmark assessments. Yet, these are the standing ones. We know there's additionals that will come by, but I know some board members might be asking, why are those the ones? These are the ones from the field book, and that each year we make sure we have. There's other ones that, as the board knows, you'll have other presentations as well.
Can I just say, as we're looking at the workshops, I like the model where, I love the idea of having one of the meetings in a month being more presentation heavy and one being more just kind of workshop, materials heavy, more learning heavy, I think is what you said. But also I like the model where we start a little earlier when we need to versus scheduling a whole nother evening. That tends to just be harder.
Right.
So just put my 2 cents in for that, because all that work is so important.
I agree. So it looks like, unless there are some conflicts for the board, which it doesn't sound like there are any, that we would move forward and look at February 28th to invite Mary Kerwin back to facilitate some of our long-range planning work and our strategic planning, including our strategic planning and our mission vision. So we will move forward with trying to secure that date with her. And then the next thing, I think, Dr. Zachary Ross, that you wanted the board to engage in dialogue about was the equity work. And it looks like our next potential workshop date is April the 25th. So that's about 3 months away, and I don't know what your thoughts are on securing, I know we work with Dr. Dorinda Carter, pre-pandemic. I know we've also been working with Dr. Yolanda Sealy-Ruiz, district-wide, on a lot of professional development work. So what are your thoughts on moving this work forward, our equity work forward? It is April too soon.
I'm looking towards Dr. Lopez, because he's been in meetings with not Dr. Carter Andrews, but she is working in our district with our teachers, so she has been here. Dr. Sealy Ruiz and Dr. Carter, no, she couldn't, she told us no on a few days when we were working with the teachers.
Okay.
Is April too soon, do you think?
For her to come here.
Based off of your calendar when they're working. And of course, we don't know for sure until we call, but
No, that's fine. I was just looking at the next available workshop date and wondering if we could plug something in there. And then the next date after that would be June the 20th.
is there a preference? I know you put it out on the table about Dr. Carter Andrews. So Dr. Dorinda Carter Andrews led us, the board through a lot of work. She works through Michigan State University, but she's known worldwide and does this work with other school boards. Dr. Yolanda Sealy-Ruiz, she has been working with the district, with our teachers, but literally everyone, bus driver. She's done a couple of community meetings, and so she comes at the focus of archaeology of self, doing the self development piece as well. I know even prior to Dr. Dorinda Carter Andrews, many of the board members started with the Justice League and Justice League training. So there has been a progression, and if there's one of them, if it's Dr. Dorinda Carter Andrews who started and has a relationship already, I didn't know if there was a preference of who we should call, like number one, try to get this person in, and their specific topics.
To me, I mean, I really like Dr. Carter Andrews, but I think, and I don't know the other presenter, but I think for me, it's whatever you feel will help us move the work of the district along better.
Right.
You know, if there is such a, I mean, they're both, I'm sure, great, so. But maybe the person who's working with the rest of the district makes sense, but I don't, to me, it's whatever you think would be best.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yes,
But did the
agreed.
board start with Dr. Carter Andrews?
We did.
We did? Yeah, I like her.
I think Dr. Lopez has his,
I know, I just saw good.
oh, I missed
Oh,
it.
I'm good. I was nodding along with
Okay.
Trustee Schindler.
Oh, okay.
So I think, our last session with Dr. Dorinda Carter Andrews will be on April 12th. So, and her difficulty has been because she has to coordinate all those other professors that are helping. I think that she, if you talk to her, I think she will be very receptive to that. Yolanda, our last session with Yolanda this year will be May 27th, 22 during that half day.
Thank you.
But other than that,
And that does enter into the space of they both are working with teachers in our district. So I know that's a question a board member asked, so I just want to make sure Dr. Carter Andrews with the Michigan State University, they're working with there is 2 cohorts. This first year is with, is it 3 or 4?
3 schools.
3 schools on educating the Black youth, and especially focusing on male. And this is not, this is a study that has been going on in Michigan, and they give specific strategies to work in the classroom with our students. And it's interesting because administrators can't attend. It allows teachers to be vulnerable, and teachers, they really like it. Like, they stay till 7:30, and I'm like, wow, you must really, like, and then, like, we go, like, it was at Estherbrook and then here, and they're, like, still here after 7:30.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh, I sure wish I could stay. But, so they have enjoyed also working with Dr. Dorinda Carter Andrews, and you've heard of the work that Dr. Seeley Ruiz. So they both are working with our teachers. So I wanted to give you that encouragement.
I think the biggest piece about that is that it also focuses on working for eliminating the disproportionality of African-American males that get suspended. And so teachers are really driving that forward.
Is that,
Toolkit, there's a toolkit that is amazing.
yeah, is that both of the presenters, both of them are working on specifically that justice issue? Or is there one that's focused more on that?
That group from Michigan State,
That's
this is
Dr.
their
Carter
research and the focus, and they literally are given a toolkit. So they have a control group this year, and then next year the others will have the training. So they'll, I think it's 6 of the buildings will have the training.
Interesting. I know that, you know, we talk about academic inequities, but I think really that focus on reducing suspensions and, you know, keeping kids out of the school to prison pipeline, as it is called. I think those would be really key issues for this group to focus on. I also know that when recalling pre-pandemic, when we had our very first workshop with Dr. Carter Andrews, she had talked about doing some data analysis and looking into the district's data to really see, you know, where we were losing students academically, or whether there were patterns in the data of, you know, particular, you know, she had pointed to another district she worked with where she found that students of color had a lot of losses when they switched buildings, for example. So I don't know if I don't know if our data looks like that, but I would be really curious about that aspect, if that's possible for, you know, for us to think about. It might be a lot to ask by April, but if that's something that we could start to examine, that would be, I think, really, really interesting.
That's great feedback, Trustee Gangsley. And, I mean, all of the work that they're doing, and I'm not as necessarily, I know we had a lot of momentum around it, and then the pandemic hit, and, you know, but the work has still been lifted up in the district with our teachers, thereby impacting our students. And they know our district, so I guess I'm just really grateful and thankful that we have this opportunity to capture 2 really phenomenal facilitators and leaders in this equity work. And like Trustee Schindler pointed out, I certainly would just follow your lead, Dr. Zachary Ross, in terms of scheduling, in terms of, we have a kind of skeleton calendar right now of potential dates. So I think that if you could follow up just to let us know, we know what dates are available on the calendar. But I know that there's a lot of moving parts, especially with both of these facilitators who are very sought after and very, very busy. But it sounds like the board is saying that they would like to continue this equity work, and they want you to start to work on maybe potential dates and scheduling, however that needs to happen. But we're looking somewhere between April and June. I think, wait, Dr. Lopez, did you say that the work with Dr. Seeley Ruiz is finished up in our district sometime in May? I thought I heard you say May. May, okay.
It's the last half day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your flexibility, board.
Yes. Okay, and just a reminder that the dates is the dates are what we really want to make sure that we look at, and if we don't see any conflicts, I heard a couple of board members say they don't see any conflicts. If we feel like the dates look okay, that is what we will proceed in voting on, knowing that the topics on the right side are subject to change. And we will keep the board informed and updated about that. Any other discussion on the calendar? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion at this time to adopt the Board of Education meeting schedule?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move to adopt the Board of Education meeting schedule for January 24, 2022 through January 23, 2023.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to item 10, and this is the use of our facsimile signature authorization. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move to authorize the Director of Business and Finance to file the necessary forms with the appropriately designated banks and use the facsimile signature of the school district superintendent on check draws of the general fund, food service fund, debt retirement fund, payroll account, student activities fund, and trust fund.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Gainsleigh. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the execution of contracts and signing of documents on behalf of the district authorization. Is there a motion at this time?
Dr. Hawkins, I move. Trustee Townsend, I move to designate and limit thereto the following administrators to sign contract and other documents on behalf of the district: superintendent or designee and director of business and finance.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the bank account signatories authorization. Is there a motion at this time?
Dr. Hawkins, Trustee Townsend, I move to approve the board president, superintendent, board treasurer, director of business finance, and finance accounting supervisor as official signatories of bank accounts for the district.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion?
Support, this is Trustee Gainsleigh?
Gainsleigh?
Yes.
Supported by Trustee Gainsleigh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the depository for school district funds designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education utilize the following financial institutions as depositories for the following funds: Normal Operations Deposits and Withdrawals, Michigan Liquid Asset Fund Plus, Bank of Ann Arbor and Fifth Third Bank, Bonded Indebtedness Paying Agents, Bank of New York, Huntington National Bank, U.S. Bank, and Pacific Western.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the Electronic Transfer Officer, ETO designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend, Dr. Hawkins, Trustee Townsend, I move that the board treasurer or director of business and finance be appointed as electronic transfer officer, ETO, in accordance with policy 6144.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the audit firm designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, this is Trustee Schindler. I move that the Board of Education designate Yao and Yao as its auditor for the year ending June 30th, 2022.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the legal counsel designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Townsend, I move that the Board of Education authorize the following law firms as legal counsel for the district. The Room Law Firm, PC, retainer, Collins and Blaha, PC, and is there something else?
It was removed.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the newspaper for bid notices and other legal posting designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Fields move that the Board of Education designate the Ann Arbor News for bid notices and other legal postings.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to meeting posting responsibilities designation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the superintendent or designee will designate an appropriate available person to post notices of public meetings.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Gaisley. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to action item number 11, action item under business and finance. Is there, this is the acceptance of the resolution for millage renewal. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Fields move that the Board of Education accepts the attached resolution for millage renewal to be added to the May 2022 ballot.
Motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support?
Trustee Gaisley, I support this motion and would like to request some discussion of it.
Absolutely. Let me repeat. The motion has been made by Trustee Fields, supported by Trustee Gaisley, in discussion at this time.
I was wondering if the superintendent could talk a little bit about this.
Thank you so much. Treasurer, I was trying to give you the correct Treasurer Gaisley. Thank you for pausing, because we know that the annual millage rate expires at the end of 2022. We want to renew the millage for 10 years. However, we want to make sure that we're really clear. I know that Ms. Nyack and Hoot, I know she's looking forward, chomping at the bit to say a little bit about this, that has already, after talking a little bit to the Board, Operations and Finance Committee, about clarifying to the public how this is not an impact or an increase to the homeowners or to, and she wants to make sure to clarify that. Yet beforehand, I just wanted to thank her, because we're already starting, if the board passes this, we will start communicating widely with our community about what does this mean as it is placed on the ballot. Ms. Nyack.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the millage renewal. We would like to renew the millage because our millage is going to expire at the end of 2022. It's 18 mills of renewal that we get as an operational fund from the local taxing authorities. This year, going forward, it is 18 mills. Because of the Henley rollback is gonna go down a little. That's why you see in your resolution that we are asking for the 18.5, which will help us ensure that we get the 18 mills. It is not a cost increase for any of the homeowners. It is excluding the personal residential homes.
And for non-homestead properties,
Non-homestead
renewal, so
properties,
it wouldn't be
yes.
an increase either.
Yes, this
No
basically
increase.
ensures us that the district will receive the local 18 mills, which on an average generates $11 million for us. The rest of the money, we get it from the state. State assumes that we get 18 mills from the local authorities, and they give us the rest via state aid.
And I think that's the big piece that we want to make sure to communicate, especially to our homeowners. Number one, this is not added to you, and to our wonderful business partners, that this is a continuation, this is a renewal, and we would like to continue to receive that support.
Any other discussion on this item?
Trustee Townsend, as I said it before, I think this is fine for me, but I want to make sure that we, communicate it in a way that everyone will understand it. So that's just my biggest thing, making sure that we really push the proper communication of it, and that they understand the big takeaway is that it's not increasing,
Yes.
and that it's simply a renewal for us to continue to do the business of the district.
Thank you. That's absolutely right. I think when people see the word millage, they automatically think increase in some shape, form, or fashion. So I think that the district will do a good job of making sure the messaging around this is correct, and that people understand clearly that there is no increase. Thank you so much, Ms. Nyack. Any other board discussion? Thank you for your point and your question, Trustee Gaisley and Trustee Townsend. Okay, seeing none, I'll repeat the motion. A motion was made by Trustee Fields, and it was supported by Trustee Gaisley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of Quaver Ed Music curriculum renewal for $39,200. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education accept as presented Quaver Ed Music Curriculum Renewal for Perry Early Learning Center, Ford Early Learning Center, Erickson Elementary, Estabrook Elementary, Holmes Elementary, Ifsalani International Elementary School, Ifsalani Community Middle School Choir, and Ifsalani Community Middle School Band for $39,200.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Gaisley. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. Any discussion on this item? See none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of implementation of the eye observation system. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education accepts the attached quote for implementing the eye observation system.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. Is there any discussion on this item?
Could we have a little description of what this is, since I think this is a new item?
Yes, I'll ask Dr. Cascarella if he'd be able to share this great opportunity to systematize our evaluation system.
Good evening. Yes, this is a new item, and it will support our administrators and teachers in the process of their evaluations. It should be noted that the evaluation process itself is not changed. The rubrics are exactly the same. The data that we are collecting for our teachers and our administrators is exactly the same. The only thing that this platform does is it allows us to have a one-place stop all for all evaluations, and it systematizes it. So it will greatly enhance and make our evaluation system even better than it already is. Our fabulous HR director will be able to go online and at a glance be able to see how the evaluations are. The other thing this system will do is it will look at component by component to see if there are patterns that we might be able to offer support and professional development for our teachers. So for example, if teachers are scoring low in planning and preparation, we might be able as a district to address that through professional development by offering planning and preparation PD.
Thank you. I guess I'd love to ask, I know that the evaluation process as mandated by the state is pretty onerous, is pretty extensive, and I know that that's a big burden that has been expressed by our administrators and by our teachers as taking quite a lot of their time. So I guess my question is, do you see this system increasing the time spent, decreasing it, and if decreasing, by how much would you say?
Thank you. It's hard to tell exactly by how much, but hopefully that's the intent of this system, is to make it easier for the administrators and the teachers to have all of the information in one place. We've also purchased through the SEEK grant, and it should be noted that this contract would be purchased through grant funds, our Supporting Educator Excellence and Knowledge Grant, SEEK. And we've also purchased iPads, so a principal, instead of having to handwrite notes and then transfer those notes into a computer, a database system, and then email those to a teacher, can put those notes in real time, and as they leave the classroom, can email it directly from there to a teacher so they can get immediate feedback. So hopefully through this process, as we learn more about it and get more professional development, it will speed it up. Should also be noted that all of our evaluations for the group that we kind of call teachers are in here. So the administrator rubrics are in here, teacher rubrics, school psychs, PTs, OTs, all of those will be housed in this one place where administrators can go.
So, and I just want to emphasize, especially for those who might be watching, the process, all of the, we have to have formal, informal, that has not changed. So it's still onerous, it's still what we've been all advocating. We've been talking to our legislators today, even at the legislative breakfast. That was a big topic of conversation. We're really advocating for this year for there to be some type of reprieve. We know 40% of a teacher evaluation being on a state test during a pandemic is this. We know there's other things our teachers and staff members are doing that should be the focus. Yet we talk about growth, and this system will allow us, as Dr. Coscarella talked about, to look at growth. Where is it that we're growing, that we're doing well? Where is it that we need to continue to improve? Time-wise, I think it will save on the time of the administrator. And teachers are preparing, they're doing a wonderful job every day, doing their lessons. We just hope that those are the same great lessons that they see during the evaluation. It just will give that feedback to them, and we know part of evaluation, the most important thing is feedback. It'll give them that feedback quicker. So that's the part that I think will be most improved.
Thank you for all the research I'm sure went into this. I'm eager to hear how it goes, and would love to have an update in maybe a year.
Any other board questions or discussion on this item? I just had one question and a statement. My question is, do we have any feedback from other districts who have already used this type of system?
Well, the one thing about this system that I am excited about, when I first came, the district was looking at another system that was not aligned. This one is proprietary to the rubrics that the board has adopted, that the teachers union has adopted. So we can't, if we're gonna use those rubrics, this is the one that they use. So all the other ones, we'd have to adopt and try to modify. This is what our Danielson rubrics align to and speak to, and the designer of the rubrics has endorsed. I don't know if you want to add to other districts, but.
I do know of a couple of other districts that use eye observation, and it's been very successful. They found it very user-friendly, intuitive, and it forms the way that the authors say it will. It should be noted that we're also going to do kind of a soft rollout with this to, especially right now, if an administrator says, you know, I've done everything in paper and pencil, and for the rest of this year, I just want to continue and kind of dabble in this, we'll support that. And if an administrator wants to go, you know, full force into using it, we'll support them as well in that way, because we have spoken with our administrators about switching to this. And again, it should be emphasized that the process does not change, the rubrics do not change. So from a teacher's standpoint, they can be assured, and from the administrator's standpoint, because they're being evaluated too,
Right.
that though the things that they're being evaluated on, that doesn't change. It's just the process of how it's being done is what's changing.
Okay. Thank you both.
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
Doctor.
Go ahead,
Just have a
Trustee
quick
Townsend.
question. So with this soft rollout, that's going to take place this quarter or second quarter before the end of the year, school year?
Yes.
And so how does that, if one administrator plans to do it one way and then we have another that does it another way, from an audit standpoint of evaluations, how are they still turning in documentation so that everybody's on the same page, or I'm just trying to get
The
that.
process stays the same.
That
That's
stays
why
the
we
same?
keep it, the
Okay.
process is the same, the number of evaluations are the
Okay.
same. It's just, do you have the iPad and they're doing it on that?
Okay.
Or am I writing hand, paper and pencil?
Okay.
Some of our administrators is not even paper and pencil, because I know we're making it sound, they've created these elaborate spreadsheets, and they're like, how am I gonna move first semester from the spreadsheet to this system that we haven't even gotten a training yet? And I'm subbing in the classroom every day. So ultimately, number one, we're trying to not have them even have to do that. So we can we're gonna keep pressing for our legislators, because they've waived it during this pandemic. They even have the data that says it's not even, talk about research-based, the research says the work that we're doing on that, we should do something else in that time, but we follow the law. The law is telling us how many times, formal, informal, how long at least it should be, what kind of data we're, using to assess it. All of that staying the same. It's just, are you going with a clipboard? Are you going with your computer? Or are you taking the iPad and using it in the system?
Okay.
Okay.
That's helpful. And then my only statement, so it sounds like, just based off of the, what was said, is that this is really just a way to streamline the collection of the data and to also create some efficiencies. Okay, we look forward to an update. Thank you, Dr. Pascarella. Thank you, Dr. Zachary Rose.
I
Oh,
apologize.
Trustee Fields.
Yes, I apologize, yes. It sounds like doing this way, and like you stated, is real time. So that makes it more important when it comes to data, if you can get that collected in real time instead of waiting later on to say, oh, okay, now we're gonna add these numbers together. But as you're doing it in real time, you have more accuracy in the system.
Yeah. Thank you, Trustee Fields. All right. I'll repeat the motion. So a motion was made by Trustee Schindler, and it was supported by Trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the Read 180 and System 44. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam
Go ahead.
Madam President, Trustee Fields, move that the Board of Education accepts the attached quote for implementing Read 180 and System 44.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by Trustee Schindler. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of district-wide YCS phone upgrade project. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education award as presented the purchase agreement with Sentinel Technologies to purchase a phone system to replace the current platform.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by Trustee Fields. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the amendment to the WISD Technology Services Contract. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, move that the Board of Education approve as presented the amendment to the service contract for technology services.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Supported by trustee Townsend. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to a donation from Myers Corporation. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Fields, move that the Board of Education accept a donation from Myers for approximately $3,000 in school supplies.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Myers Corporation, for your generous donation. Next, that takes us to a donation by Esperion Therapeutics. Is there a motion at this time?
Dr. Hawkins, Trustee Townsend, I move that the Board of Education accepts a donation from Experience Therapeutics for approximately $1,500 worth of office supplies.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Townsend. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Fields, I support.
Supported by trustee Fields. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Esperion Therapeutics, for your generous donation. Next, we have a donation from the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation Grant. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept a grant from the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation in the amount of $75,000 to support young men of purpose.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Supported by trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, for your generous grant to support our students.
Dr. Hawkins, would you mind if we heard a little bit about this program?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. My So this is the African American males at the middle school.
Yes, so we had an opportunity to meet with the foundation, and we were able to meet in a number of, we collaborated for a series of, like a period of 2.5 months, et cetera, to really, and then they met with Turquoise Neal, the principal there, and in the process, they unwrapped all the resources and the needs that we have with our young people. So they wanted to focus on our children and our youth. And so in essence, there was a commitment to securing $75,000 that will really support tutoring, mentoring, all those kinds of supports directly that impact our young people. It has been a game changer in the relationship. You go to the middle school, you could see just the calmness, just the personalization and the supports that are being provided. So, it just go back that if there's an adult that has your back and becomes your advocate, it really works. And so we're seeing a shift and a change. Of course, the leadership there is working diligently and building those relationships, but the support is really paying off.
And I think I'd add, it was led by, and this is where I think I'm excited about, it was led by the partners. So there were community partners that were working with students in our district, but not necessarily in an organized way. They're the ones who spearheaded the conversation with the community foundation and said, hey, if we work together, can you support us? We can't do it alone. There are a lot of smaller organizations, mostly led by men, who said, I know we need to work on our males. We want to, we know we need something to fill in the gap. And so the proposal was led by them. And then the conversations they came here during the summer, they just worked to ensure that when they wrote up the proposal to the foundation, that it was collaborative and wasn't, oh, we're gonna do this to the school, or we're not gonna tell you this is what we're gonna come in. They worked and just constantly ask questions. They worked with families. They brought in, they're the ones who brought in Dr. Lopez and said, okay, this is what we see as a vision. We like to provide this service. If we get support from the Ann Arbor Community Foundation, we know we can do this. And so I think the collaborative nature of them working together is what really is making it work.
Sounds like an amazing program.
The other piece is that there's a component where on Saturday, they also provide support, direct support to the families.
This is fantastic. I would agree, this is something that I think has, no pun intended, great promise, for our young men. Well, it says young men of purpose, I thought it said young men of promise, but young men of purpose. And also, just a little note that I made as I was listening to you, Dr. Lopez, is that thinking back to, and I won't say much about it, only just a quick thing, thinking back to the feedback that we got from our Cognia accreditation, and their recommendation to us was to really boost up, increase the number of students in our district who have access to mentors. And then I see Mentor to Youth, WMBK, WC, all of these partners listed here who can really support that data point and that feedback that we got from Cognia. So we look forward to hearing how well this is going, because we know it's going to go well. And the board looks forward to an update. So thank you for that. Any other questions from the board? Feedback? Okay. Motion, I'll repeat, motion was made by Vice President Lee, supported by Trustee Schindler. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to a donation from the Earl Lee Bird Learning Center and Child Care. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education accept a donation from Early Bird Learning Center and Child Care for $1,000.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support Vice President Lee.
Supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, that takes us to the second portion of our public comment for this evening. And seeing no participants who've come in wishing to address the board, we will move on to item number 13, which is a report from our subcommittees. If there aren't any reports at this time from the subcommittees, please share.
Madam President, I do have one from the Ifsalani Community School Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I will read off what was sent to me by Amanda Smith, who is the vice president of that committee.
Okay.
In 2021, YCS Foundation gave out more than $93,800 allocated in the following ways. $4,800 supported 15 teacher mini grants. The 2022 mini grants applications are in, and we are expected to give out more than $11,000 this year to the 35 applicants. More than $24,500 in scholarships to graduating seniors. I'm still waiting on the final numbers. $20,000 to support K through 12 learning recovery through academic tutoring, specialized materials, and kits in partnership with KLA. $4,000 to support pandemic priorities in partnership with Yale and Yale, did I say that right? Yale and Yale, okay. And that's what I was given to read off to the board. And I'm sad that I won't be on that committee anymore. You'll be taking over now. But thank you, and I enjoyed that committee a lot, so.
Thank you, Vice President Lee. And that sounds like that was their report for the distribution of funding that they had for 2021. I know that the foundation gives out scholarships to, and many of our students over the years have benefited from these scholarships. Do we have, and this might be something that we can just bring back to the board, so it's a question for you, Vice President Lee, but it might be a question for Trustee Gaisley. Do we know dates, and has that information been shared widely in terms of scholarships that are available to our seniors this year?
I don't have that information.
Okay, we can find out later.
Dr. Hawkins, I do have additional information.
Thank you.
The school district actually, along with the Ifsalani Rotary, will be having a event virtually on Thursday, February 10th. And it will be, it is the Divine Nine and the other organizations, primarily Black organizations in the community, that will be giving information about all the scholarships that are available.
Okay.
But one of the presenters is also the Ifsalani Community Schools Foundation. And so they will be discussing all of that information about scholarships that are available to all of our students on that day. And it will be virtually and aired live on Facebook.
Okay,
Okay.
virtual event. And do you think they will send, thank you so much for that, Trustee Townsend. Will information be shared with, how are they advertising this date and this virtual event? Do you
So
know?
the flyer is already on the school's website.
Oh, perfect,
And the
okay.
information has been distributed by our marketing coordinator, Ms. Alex Cash.
Perfect.
That has been sent out to all of the school supporters,
Okay, thank you so much.
and it's on all social media as well.
Okay. All right, excellent. Thank you. Any other subcommittee reports at this time?
Yes, we've had a pretty busy month on the Operations and Finance Subcommittee. The main thing that we just previously discussed is that we've got a millage. So everyone now knows about that. That's fully public, but our team did, our committee did request that the district administration perhaps at our next meeting provide just a timeline of what communications the district plans on sending out about the millage, because of course it's really important. The district, and we've got all our campaign finance information here, the district cannot advocate for the millage, but they can educate the public about what's
Right.
involved, when the election is, and what's on the ballot. So that's, forthcoming, and, certainly communicating about that millage is gonna be a priority. The other thing that committee has been working on is exploring potential future use at Cheney Elementary. Then, I know that property disposition and how we reuse the properties that we're not currently using has been a key priority for this board. And so there has been some discussion, and we actually had a walkthrough of Cheney with Mr. Rose and quite a few community members just to take a look at the building. And then also had the Sheriff's Department, I believe I can share, had an architect go through to evaluate the building. So that's just in progress, but it was really, I'd never been in. It was pretty cool to see the inside of the building. It's actually in surprisingly good shape. So we'll keep the board posted on any progress there.
All right. Great. Thank you, Trustee Gaisley. Any other board subcommittee reports? All right, seeing none, that'll take us to board superintendent comments. Any board comments at this time?
I just have one comment.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hawkins, for the board recognition. This is very nice. I do have one correction. My name.
Spelling of your
Yep,
name.
but
It's
that's
an E.
okay. I will take this, and I appreciate this. I think it's very nice that the district continues to support, because a lot of people just don't understand that beyond just coming to a board meeting, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. And I was just telling somebody, just beyond what the board does, just think about the superintendent has times that by 20,000. So we do appreciate this, but we also I want to publicly say that we also appreciate you, your team, Ms. Haynes, for all of the work that you all do just to keep us informed and just to keep the train moving. So we do appreciate you as well.
Yes. Thank you, Trustee Townsend. And on that same note, I usually wait until the end to go, but I just, in case I forget, I just wanted to make a note to say, we wouldn't be the board that we are without the support from our administrators. And so I know that I'm echoing what Trustee Townsend said, but it is because of the leadership in this district that makes this board do the work that we can do. It's a lot, but we are all dedicated, we're committed to this work. And this is our first meeting in person. And I think many of us were excited and some of us were maybe anxious and, we had all sorts of feelings. But to come into this room today, and to just see the care that went into just making sure the preparations for the board were everything they needed to be, from the gifts to everything being so sanitized and clean and our setup here, we were just ready to go. And that just makes all the difference for a board when we have full-time jobs, we're very busy, and to come in and to be just listening to soft kind of jazz music in the background, just put me in a whole different mind space. So I just want to say thank you for all that you all do, because that is what makes the board work so important. And especially Ms. Haynes, I cannot go with, she keeps us together, all the way together. So we thank you so much for everything you do in support to us. Thank you.
And Solomon, this, you got us looking good today.
I'm telling
So
you.
I'm just,
We feel so professional.
I know. So thank you.
Because I heard some horror stories.
Would you
At
say,
that
Vice President
conference.
Lee?
I heard horror stories at that conference about their board meetings. Had me scared to do in person.
Oh,
Yes. I'm like, ooh, okay.
yes, we got our sanitizer, we got everything we need. in
And
our
I knew
little-
right where to go when I came in. 'Cause I was running late. I'm like, that was really cool.
Yes,
No
absolutely.
disruption.
Yes, yep. So this has been wonderful. Any other board comments?
I have a quick comment. I just would love to brag on our amazing superintendent for a moment. I did post this on social media, but for work this last week, I went to the Michigan Association of School Administrators Conference, messaged Alina to see if she was there, and come to find out that she had not only delivered an address from the main stage that morning, and by all reports done an incredible job, but she also accepted an award for the district recognizing
Yes.
the Grizzly Learning Camp. So well done, Alina.
Other board comments? This is a little bit unrelated to board stuff, but I just want to mention it anyway because it popped in my head. I know that there was a recognition for you, Trustee Gaisley, because of your first year. And with your, I can't even think of where you work.
At the
But
Michigan.
that's a bit, I know there was a video that Trustee Fields
Yeah, I
made
shared
sure
it.
that she posted so that we all could see it. And I just don't want to put you on the spot, but I think that's a milestone. And I just want to say congratulations for everything that you're doing to support access students, families in this area. So do you want to say a little bit about reaching that one-year milestone?
Sure. I have self-promotion here, but it is, I think, a great resource for Michigan students.
It
So
is.
the Michigan Learning Channel is a project that's launched between all 6 of the PBS stations in Michigan. So it's completely free to every student in the state. Goes on over to the TV. All of it's available online. And it's just a free educational resource with distance learning lessons that are taught by Michigan teachers. So we been on the air for 1 year this month, and we're just so thrilled to be able to offer that program and offer a robust summer program too.
Excellent. Well, congrats on that, and thank you for posting the video. I have to live vicariously
Thanks
through
for the
others because I'm not, necessarily connected to social media that way. I'm sure I'm late to the party or whatever, but I just wanted to recognize that is a nice accomplishment. Any other board comments? Superintendent, Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to continue on with what Trustee Gaisley was saying with the Michigan Learning Channel, because Oftentimes we see in one hat, we see our board members in one hat, but when they wear other hats. And so, again, she was presenting at the conference, with the Michigan Learning Channel. It is beyond, I know sometimes like when she was originally talking to me about it, I'm like, okay, you're at work. And then it got bigger and bigger. They get teacher voice and input. Real teachers teaching these lessons to students anywhere. So if a student is at home, they've got COVID, they want to enrich or expand, or a teacher wants to use some of the lessons, that is available. The other part is, they send each week, they send the teachers and schools information, okay, here's like a synopsis of what we're going to have, and this is what you can look forward to. So it's not just IPSI, not just our county, but literally people up in the thumb can have access to these same lessons, and our very own board treasurer is making this happen. So I appreciate it as an educator. And when we talk about equity and access, I just think, we can talk about things, but watching each one of you and their roles is just amazing. So thank you for what you do. Secondly, I wanted to share about the award. And so this award actually is for our whole Grizzly Nation. It's called the Beyond the Classroom Award, and this is from, and I'm going to make sure, they said that 2 local districts will be recognized. Now remember, there's 529 or 589 districts. I know it's a 5 and a 9. You guys know I get my numbers. In the whole state of Michigan. And so they wanted to recognize districts for exemplary out-of-school time efforts in collaboration with community-based organizations. So we shared about what happened with the Grizzly Learning Camps. Dr. Cascarella put this all in a nice synopsis. He talked about the work that we do with Michigan's medical school through the implementation of the TRAILS curriculum, and we know that has been amazing around our social-emotional learning. He emphasized that we had over 1,100 students in Grizzly Learning Camp with hands-on, cognitively engaging, project-based learning, but he listed some, and I just wanted to lift up some of the partners, because we went through it, but sometimes, and we even had to report, we got the t-shirts, I'm just saying we know it, but like to be living in it and then reflect. So here's just some of our partners. University of Michigan, Eastern Michigan University, the EMU Invent specifically, the Toledo Zoo, a culinary kitchen, the comic book store, Don Bakeries, Creature Conservatory, Belle Isle Aquarium, Washtenaw ISD, Washtenaw Community College, Domino's Farm, Ifsalani Running Store, Ypsilanti District Library, Foster Grandparents, AmeriCorps, Firehouse Museum, Growing Hope, Lego Robotics, just to name a few. Wow. Not even thinking about the work we did extended through Park Ridge and what my brother's keeper, right? So when you start thinking about the partnerships and the example, and so part of that was recognized. What will happen with this award is that they'll come in, they'll interview, and then we'll present to others. The Ed Talk that I did, the state, we didn't apply, most Ed Talk people apply. Literally, the superintendents asked 3 superintendents out of their colleagues to come present. And so I was fortunate to be asked to be one, and then that we received one of the first 2 awards by MASA, so the Michigan Association of Superintendents and Administrators, and Michigan After School Partnership, and they would like us to work with them to get out word, to get more grants, to get more funds, and we will receive $7,500 to continue to support. And it might sound small, but we know when you add all of these things together, there is amazing work we can do on behalf of the students here and with the students here at YCS. So to all of those teachers, parents, community members, administrators who made Grizzly Learning Camp happen, you know, I'll be like at the awards. This is for you. This is for you. And then lastly, I do want to thank Solomon and the technology team. I just want you to know, he is setting up, he has in his mind, like a lot of technology people, he's like, okay, let's see how this setup works. We're gonna look at some different things, because he wants to make sure that eventually it's like what we permanently have. So he has gotten some different equipment, but he's like, we've got to figure this out. And I appreciate it, and I thank him, because he had another presentation at his second place today, and we know that that sacrifice, and so I want to thank him for that. And in regards to that, I wanted to just share, we appreciate we had someone here for public comment, but I wanted to make sure to lift, and I did share with the board that right now, with what's happening in the state and with the new Michigan code, the MCL 15263 and MCL 15263A, it talks about the fact that only members of the military may vote at and participate in public meetings virtually, beginning January 1st. So we came and we met, and we're here, and there isn't an opportunity for us to do that. In addition, part of it is, in order to have public comment, a person must be present in person for public comment. So the board meeting today is streamed. We did put it on Facebook. There's an opportunity also for them to go to the link, but that was out of caution of additional comments. Maybe if you stream directly through Facebook, when we went and got the training at the conference, they were reminding us that we don't want to violate the Open Meetings Act, and so public comments are not available through virtually, and we aren't to take comments virtually, but people are welcome to come in and follow the public comment portion of our meeting. So I wanted to note that change. It's nothing that we're being transparent. We're still streaming. I just wanted to make sure that the board knew and public knew that there is opportunity for public comment. And although it's the pandemic, we have to follow the law, and we're not able to take those comments in that way, although I know comments are welcome. And finally, I just wanted to talked about our amazing administrators and staff. You know, I know that people look around the state, and sometimes, especially when larger districts are closing, and especially if they're close by, that pressure and wondering, what are we looking at the numbers? Again, I've listed that large number of over 500 districts in the state, and one of the things is each week there's been less than 10 that have been closed. So if you think about the percentage of that, and that pressure that even board members might hear, like the numbers are telling it, what we have been urged to do is to look at classroom by classroom, building by building. So in our district, at one point we had 4 classrooms closed. And the remaining students were able to have their education, to get the social emotional learning, to see their social worker and their counselor, to go to the RISE clinic, to be able to have fellowship with their friends. How about that? I know it's important to have the adult piece, but they have really missed out over the years. And we certainly take this pandemic seriously. This variant has just got us kind of baffled, right? Because before it was like, if you just get the vaccination, if you just get booster, and now we see people who have vaccination and booster. So we're going to do as best as we can to operate in a safe manner, because that's not going to at all ever waver. Yet we're going to do our best to stay open for our students, for our parents and community, as long as it's safe, as long as it goes with the guidance of the Washtenaw County Health Department. And the only way we've been able to do that is nothing that I've been able to do, our office, even the people, the administrators in this room. It's been because of the diligence of our bus drivers who picking them up, the cooks who come into the kitchen each and every morning and afternoon, our teachers, social workers, nurses, custodians, grounds folks. Everybody has been mobilized. And especially right now, there is not one position, if I say I'm a media specialist, that they think about me. Speech, every one of them, every position has been just invaluable. And so I cannot thank our staff members enough. That we haven't had people post a test, because they know, even though on one hand, the tension, on one hand, they don't know about this virus, it gets scary sometimes. But on the other hand, they're like, but we gotta be open, we gotta be here for our students. They didn't do as well as they could have done remotely. We don't know what was going on with them and did they have everything they need. So I just appreciate board members the opportunity to even during Board Appreciation Month, thanking the staff that are leading. To me, everybody, we could always say you lead from where you stand. Everybody leading from where they stand. Any adult member of Ifsalani Community Schools, if they're staff members, even our volunteers, I realized we could not have even stayed open, done the things that we've been able to do without them. I can tell you State Superintendent Michael Rice is working on a campaign to try to look at percentages. So as long as we are open and host school, even if we fall below 75%, right now we get a portion of that. So whatever portion is here, like if it's 73, we get 73%. Like we get, it's not like we get none like we all used to think, but they're looking at how many days. So they just did a survey. Is this today's Monday? I tell you, it feels like today is like Wednesday. They just did a survey today about how many days. We did have 8 days, but where's the 8 days? So it was a couple in October we had with the threats, and we know not just us, but Oakland County was really hit by this, by days where we were under 75%. And we have a district that was at 25% in this state one day, in that county, because of what was going on. But they said they wanted to be open for the ones who needed to come. And so we don't know yet where that will go, but they say try to be open, because at least your days, they said they don't know if they can do the forgiveness of a day. But the percentages, they're looking and really trying to push legislators to give some flexibility. So I'll keep you posted, but know that it's not anything, again, that I'm doing, our offices are doing. It really has been the teachers and administrators and paras and all of those others who have stepped up, subbed for one another, reached out to parents, doing whatever they needed to do to keep this district going. And I just can't thank them enough for their cooperation, collaboration, and leading the charge.
Absolutely. A hand clap for them.
Yes.
Was that your last update?
Oh,
Dr.
I'm
Zachary?
sorry, I'm overwhelmed. I'm thinking about all the hard work.
Yes, it's a lot, and we're doing it, and so there's much to be proud of. All right, if there are no other comments from the board, we are adjourned at 8:48. Have a good night, be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Congratulations, all the officers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a good week.